echoes of defiance. In the dim glow of the orbital station's command deck, where stars bled into the void like forgotten promises, Dr. Alara Voss leaned over the holographic display. Her fingers, slender and scarred from years of neural implants, danced across the flickering probabilities. The AI's voice, cool, synthetic, laced with the faint echo of her late husband's timbre, whispered the verdict. "The plan has a 99% chance of failure," she said, her voice barely audible over the hum of life support systems. Alara's eyes, augmented with irises that shifted like oil on water, fixed on the human across from her. Captain Jonah Hale, all broad shoulders and reckless grin, lounged in the captain's chair as if it were a beach recliner on old Earth. He wasn't augmented. Not like her. No neural lace threading his veins, no subdermal armor plating his skin. Just flesh, bone, and an unyielding optimism that bordered on madness. Jonah's smile widened, crinkling the corners of his eyes that had seen too many black holes up close and lived to laugh about it. "That's why I'm doing it," he replied, his voice a warm rumble that cut through the sterile air like a knife through silk. Alara straightened, her lab coat whispering against the deck plating. She had built this AI, herself in a way, from scraps of code and salvaged quantum cores. It was her confidant, her mirror, her curse. And now, it was delivering Jonah's eulogy before the ink had even dried. "Jonah, this isn't a game. The Nexus core is buried in the heart of the singularity. The event horizon alone will shred the Odyssey like tissue paper. Probability models don't lie. 99%. That's not a warning. It's a death sentence." He chuckled, low and easy, leaning forward to tap the hologram. The probabilities rippled like water disturbed by a stone. But the numbers held firm. Cascading failures in red, a solitary green thread snaking through the chaos at 1%. "Alara, love, if life gave us 100% certainties, we'd all be bureaucrats pushing pixels in some dome city on Mars. Where's the fun in that? Besides, you've seen the scans. That core isn't just power, it's the power. Enough to rewrite gravity, bend time like a pretzel. We crack it, and humanity's got a ticket out of this solar cage. No more scraping by on recycled air and hydroponic slop." She crossed her arms, the faint whine of her exoskeletal braces underscoring her frustration. Alara had been born in the underbelly of Luna Colony, where the elite floated above in their zero-G palaces, and the rest clawed for oxygen rations. Augmentation had been her ladder out. Neural links for intellect, cybernetic limbs for precision. But Jonah? He was baseline human, a smuggler's son from the belt, with calluses on his hands from wrangling asteroid haulers. They shouldn't have worked, her precision against his chaos. Yet here they were, 13 years into a partnership that had toppled a corporate mining cartel and unearthed a derelict alien probe. Love, she supposed, was the ultimate glitch in the system. The AI, Alara had named it Echo after the myths her mother used to spin, interjected softly. "Captain Hale, historical data correlates high-risk maneuvers with 87% personnel loss. Recommend abort and reroute to Epsilon Eridani Relay for resupply." Jonah waved a hand dismissively. "Echo, you're sweeter than my grandma's synth whiskey, but stick to crunching numbers. Alara, run the sim again. Tweak the warp bubble harmonics. I know you can squeeze that 1% into 2. She sighed, pulling up the interface. Lines of code bloomed in her mind's eye, courtesy of the lace. Echo was right. The math was merciless. The singularity, dubbed the Devil's Maw by survey drones, was a relic of the galaxy's violent youth, a scar where a star had imploded and taken half a nebula with it. The Nexus core? Legends whispered it was the engine of an ancient race, the architects, who had seeded life across the stars before vanishing. If Jonah's hunch held, activating it could flood human space with unlimited energy, colonies thriving, ships leaping light years in heartbeats, utopia or oblivion. The 99% loomed like a shadow, tidal forces ripping the ship apart, hawking radiation frying the crew, or worse, the core awakening something dormant, hungry. As the simulation reran, Jonah stood, stretching with a groan. He moved to the viewport, where the maw yawned below, a swirling abyss fringed with accretion disk fire. Remember Titan? That ice hauler glitch. 95% chance we'd freeze solid in the rings. You patched it mid-spin, and we danced on methane rainbows. Alara's lips twitched despite herself. We nearly lost the aft thrusters, and you called it dancing. Poetic license. He turned, his silhouette framed by cosmic fury. This is bigger, yeah. But it's us, the unbreakable pair. Cyborg and cowboy saving the stars one suicide run at a time. She joined him at the glass, their reflections overlapping, her sharp features softened by his easy warmth. What if it's not enough this time? What if I lose you? His hand found hers, flesh meeting alloy in a grip that said more than words. Then Echo here gets an upgrade. The plan that worked because she believed. But it won't come to that. Trust the 1%, Alara. It's where miracles hide. The station shuddered as docking clamps released the Odyssey, a sleek corvette scarred from 100 skirmishes. Jonah saluted Echo's console. Keep the home fires burning, Tin Lady, and strode to the airlock. Alara watched him go, her heart a tangle of code and emotion. Probability be damned, she activated the auxiliary boosters, syncing her lace to the ship's nav core. If 1% was their odds, she'd make it 100% hers to fight for. The Odyssey plunged into the accretion disk like a diver into molten gold. Alarms wailed. Hull stress at 112%, radiation shields buckling. But Jonah gripped the controls with white-knuckled calm. Easy, girl, he murmured to the ship, as if coaxing a skittish horse. The viewport filled with plasma storms, tendrils of superheated gas lashing out like vengeful spirits. In the orbital station, Alara's feeds flooded her vision. Telemetry streams, structural integrity graphs, Jonah's vitals spiking with adrenaline. Echo's voice cut in, warp bubble destabilizing, estimated breach in 47 seconds. Compensate, Alara barked, her fingers blurring over virtual keys. She overclocked the quantum stabilizers, drawing power from non-essentials. Life support dipped to 82%, but it held. The bubble reformed, a fragile soap sphere enclosing the ship against the tidal crush. Attaboy, Jonah's voice crackled over comms, laced with static. Knew you had it in you. Don't celebrate yet. You're 3,000 clicks from the horizon. The maw deepened, gravity warping light into rainbows that painted the bridge in eerie hues. Jonah fired lateral thrusters, slinging the Odyssey into a hyperbolic arc. The ship groaned, rivets popping like gunfire. Outside, the disk's fury intensified, jets of X-rays probing for weakness. Echo calculated relentlessly. 99.2% failure threshold crossed. Recommend ejection pod. Negative, Jonah snapped. Alara, darling, talk me through the dive. She swallowed dryly, tasting copper from bitten lip. Align on Vector 7 Alpha. Pulse the gravitics in 3-second bursts. It'll surf the ergosphere. Buy you 20% less drag. He complied, the ship bucking like a bronco. Surfing a black hole. Now that's a story for the grandkids. If you live to have them. The horizon loomed, a point of no return where time dilated to a crawl. For observers like Alara, Jonah's plunge would stretch into eternity. For him, seconds would blur into forever. The feeds stuttered, relativistic lag biting deep. Love you, he said, voice warping as if underwater. Get back here, idiot, she whispered. Then silence. The feeds flatlined, Echo's probabilities locked at 99.9%. Alara's world narrowed to the red glow of failure. But humans, she remembered, weren't built for certainties. They thrived in the cracks. Hours bled into days on the station, though relativity made it moot. Alara paced, lace humming with phantom inputs, ghost touches from a ship long swallowed. Echo ran endless what-ifs, each more bleak. Debris fields, hawking echoes, nothing. Then a ping. Faint, anomalous, quantum entanglement relay flickering to life. Odyssey to Voss station. Come in, beautiful. Her breath caught. Jonah. Status. Laughter, tinny over the link, soggy but smiling. Horizon spat me out like bad sushi. Cores in sight, glowing like a disco ball in hell. Relief crashed over her, hot and unbidden. How? The math. Math forgot the human factor. That 1%, it's got grit. Now, patch me schematics. Time to crack this egg. Elara dove into the archives, pulling architect runes from the alien probe they'd unearthed years ago. Echo cross-referenced, probabilities shifting. 1%, 3%, then 7%. The core wasn't just a reactor. It was a symphony of exotic matter, tuned to frequencies long silent. As Jonah approached, maneuvering through hawking foam, bubbles of virtual particles popping into reality, Elara guided him. Sync your emitters to 2.718 Hz. That's the golden ratio, Echo. It'll resonate. The ship trembled as fields interfaced. Energy surged, blue-white tendrils lancing from the core, probing the Odyssey's hull. Alarms screamed anew, overloads, feedback loops. Ejecting now, Jonah yelled. He triggered the probe drone, a fist-sized relic loaded with interface code. It burrowed into the core's shell, burrowing like a tick. The station's scopes lit up. The maw sang, gravitational waves rippling out, bending starlight into harmonies. The core awoke, not with fury, but curiosity. Fields stabilized. The singularity's pull softened, as if sighing in recognition. Power flooded the link. Unlimited, clean, boundless. The Odyssey surfed back on a gravity wave, emerging from the disk like a phoenix from ash. Docking clamps engaged with a kiss. The airlock cycled, and Jonah stumbled out, singed, grinning, alive. Elara met him halfway, alloy arms wrapping flesh in a crush. Told you, he murmured into her hair. 1% is plenty. Echo's voice, for once, held a lilt. Post-mission analysis. Success probability recalibrated to 100%. Human variables unpredictable. Elara pulled back, eyes shining. What now? Jonah's smile turned wicked. Now? We light up the stars, one defiant spark at a time. But utopias, as Elara would learn, carried their own shadows. The core's power didn't just free humanity. It awakened echoes of the architects. Whispers in the dark. Signals from beyond the galactic rim. Probes returned not with data, but questions. Who calls us home? Jonah and Elara became legends. The cyborg and the cowboy, harbingers of a new age. Colonies bloomed like wildflowers. Ships danced between stars. Yet in quiet moments, aboard the refitted Odyssey, Elara would rerun The Sims. That 99% lingered, a reminder. Triumph wasn't erasing failure, but dancing with it. And Jonah? He'd smile, pull her close. That's why we do it, every damn time.